sister told me about that.
You leapt in action.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I couldn't sleep that night. So I laid in bed and I tossed and turned. And I am very much an amateur sewer.
Excuse you, sewist.
Yes, an amateur sewist. I don't really know what I'm doing. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, but it's mostly because I like the feeling of accomplishment that I get from watching someone else do something. But I understand things. I understand how a machine works, and I know what French seams are, and I know, how to turn a corner, and just, basic things like that. And so I knew that I could make something that would help. And at this point, they're talking about N95s running out. They're talking about the shortage of just surgical masks, everything. Everything was up in the air. Are they going to have enough? And the answer was unequivocally no. They are not going to have enough.
Yeah.
And the reserve that the U.S. federal government had was not enough to cover what we were going to see. And, we watched that run out pretty quickly, watched the respirators that they have just not work, and just all kinds of things like that. And seeing all that fall apart in the days after the CDC makes this recommendation. But at the time, I was so mad that, we've known about this for so long and no one's leapt into action, because it was like we all believed that it couldn't hit us. And I was guilty of that. I'm not going to point fingers at political people and say, they're idiots because they had better information than me, or do anything like that. Because honestly, we were all just very sure that it wasn't coming here, that we were going to get through it and it was going to stay, in Europe, in China, wherever it was at that time. It's not coming here.
Yeah.
And I was just so mad that, 3M or whoever it wasn't ramping up production. They weren't creating these things. They weren't dropping everything to make enough. And I realized, the day after I started this journey, that they were. I just didn't know that yet. But I was so angry. I was so mad to think that the CDC would make this recommendation and put my sister's life in danger and put everyone's lives in danger, the people that we need the most, and just essentially say, you're shit out of luck. Just figure it out. And I just thought, I can do better than that. I can do better than that. They deserve better than that, because I'm not going to be sticking a tongue depressor down somebody's throat and having them cough in my face with a bandana on my face. I'm not going to let anybody be in that situation. I refuse to allow that to happen. And so before I saw anything, I looked up on Pinterest how to make a face mask, because I knew in Asian countries, a lot of the time they'll wear them. It's just like a general trend there, because a lot of times viruses will break out, and that's just one of the things culturally that they do to make sure that they stay healthy. And so I knew that there had to be a cloth pattern for this, because I'd seen them at Disney World. I'd seen them other places. It's just something that, you see.
Yeah.
So I went online and I looked it up, and it took me a while. I had to dig for it at this point. This is very early on, like March 12th, I think, March 11th. So I start looking for it, and I had to dig around, and I finally found a free pattern, because there were a lot of patterns that you could buy, but free ones. So I found a free pattern, and I printed it out, and I started cutting, and I sewed, and they made some recommendations. I found a YouTube video about recommendations later on, but first I found heavy cotton fabric and light cotton fabric were the best combination. So I had an old pair of jeans. And I cut them up. And then I had a baby blanket, like a muslin baby blanket that's soft cotton, that I thought would be soft on the face.
Yeah.
So I cut that up, and I didn't have yards and yards of fabric in my basement or anything, no stash like that, because I'm really not that much of a sewist. I mean, I'm a moonlighting sewist. So I took what I had, and I just cut it apart, and I was like, well, this will work. And I knew I had some elastic, and I knew if I couldn't find elastic for the ear holders, I could cut it out of fitted sheets. Because, you know, when you get a sheet set, you can
Yeah.
have the elastic around the edge. So I thought, well, if all else fails, if I don't have any in my stash, I can find some, you know, I can salvage it. So that's the mode I'm thinking. I'm thinking, you know, what is the best filter fabric, and what do I have on hand, and what can I cut apart, and what can I suggest to people to use, and I just launched into it. And then I made one mask and I took a picture of it, and I actually took a picture of myself whipping off the screen. But I didn't post that one on social media. But I was so mad. I was so angry. And so I took a picture of myself like that, and, you know, scrunched eyebrows. And finally, the one I settled on to post to Instagram, I just had like an eyebrow raised, you know,
Yeah.
like, what's wrong with you? And so I posted, hey, 3M, if you won't make them, we will. And I, you know, like, I'm wearing the mask that I made out of jeans on my face, and it's very obvious that this is homemade. I wanted it to look almost as homemade as possible, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is something that I pulled out of my closet that I made. I really did.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to seem like, who's protecting them? Because if they won't, we will. We're going to protect our nurses. We're going to make sure that our doctors and our nurses and our medical staff are safe in this, because we need them. And we need to throw ourselves in any way we can into the fray, and take as much stress and as much fear away from them as we can, so they can focus on what they have to do. Because honestly, the reports that you hear from New York and from Italy and places where it's really hard hit, New Jersey, and it's scary. It's very scary what they see and what they have to deal with, and the amount of death that they see. And just, they're going to be emotionally scarred. Like, this is PTSD worthy. I guarantee medical workers who were on front lines in hospitals that were affected, there's going to have to be some sort of support after this. It's like a war. It really is.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have to do something to take care of them after the fact. And that's already where my mind was at that time. Like, holy crap, like, the amount of therapy these people are going to need.
Yeah.
And I, like, you know, I'm just thinking, and then there's so many people on social media who say things like, well, didn't you think about that whenever you became a nurse?
No.
Like, jerk, no, I did not.
Didn't think, nobody thought of a global pandemic, Karen. No.